And that's kind of that. Like, okay, I'll just print my.
You're live whenever you're ready, sir.
I had the update.
Rod, you're live.
Is it 5:30?
Yes.
All right, I guess we will come to order. Can we have roll call, please?
Roger.
Here.
Sorry. Mary Dell.
Here.
Beth Graham here. Rod Fordall.
Here.
Sarah Thorson.
Here.
Ann Rude is absent tonight. Luke Russell.
He's here. He's on mute, but he's here.
Oh.
Luke, you're still on mute. We see the lips moving.
I'm here. You got me now?
Yeah.
Yep. Hopefully you're not driving.
I'm taking a break.
You lie.
Hopefully you're not flying.
I swear.
Okay.
All right, citizens' comments.
The house is empty.
Being
I've
nobody
never
here, is there
seen
anyone
this room
online?
empty.
Me either.
Never.
Can you guys see it? Oh, no, you can't.
So we have no one in our audience tonight. I've never seen that in like 15 years.
Wow,
Hmm.
they knew Roger was gonna be
I guess
gone.
we scared him away.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Good help.
All right, since there is no citizen comment, I guess we move on to action items. Approval of consent agenda.
Oh, shoot. I motion to approve.
I second.
Either one.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I don't have the
Okay.
bylaws, you guys. I'm sorry.
No bylaws? today?
No.
All right, well, there will be no
You
final
can
approval.
motion to do it next meeting if you want.
Can I motion to do it next meeting?
Yes,
Of that. We'll move on to discussion
table.
items.
We're gonna table it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'll
You-
second.
okay. Tom, you and Melissa, we're just having a board discussion about,
Next steps
tennis
for
courts
things.
and what we're doing. We're trying to figure out MOUs and that kind of stuff. So it won't be affecting you guys.
Do you have any citizen comment in your
Yeah.
3 minutes?
No, we just saw that
Kind of
coal miners park proposal.
sit and listen if we can.
Perfect.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Perfect.
All right. All right, budget updates. Mike Maple.
So Parks projects, right now, they finished up the pump track, and I encourage everybody to go up there and look at it. They did a wonderful job.
Nice.
It's beautiful. I don't know much about pump tracks, but they did a good job. Looks really good. I think moving forward, I tried to call Nick today, and Luke, if he has comments, I'd like to hear them, but, I'd like to work with those guys, and there's a little bit of dirt left up there, and maybe find a little bit better place for it. I'd like to maybe use a little bit of that leftover dirt and fill in some of the holes surrounding there, and then, it came out really good. I'd like to go in there maybe in September and hydro seed some of the ground around it, so we get some grass growing back there, 'cause Willie did mow all that stuff to the north, and it looks good, and I think we need to do a little more cleanup out there and try and get it a little easier to mow. I think it should be a goal up there, and, I was even thinking and talking with the pump track folks, BRTA, on the back side of their features, we could hydro seed that maybe, just to try and, where there's no, to try and give it something to keep it from washing out when we have big moisture events. That project went really well, and I think it's pretty much done. I saw somebody riding a pump bike up there today, so. The other project that's going on with parks is, the crews have come in to start refinishing field school parks. I met with them on Monday when they got here. I've been busy, and I don't know where they're at right now, but I think it's going good, because my phone hasn't rang. And I think we got in there and did some grinding, tidying a few things up, got the new posts in with the help of the pickleball folks.
What'd you grind?
What's
Sorry.
that?
Grinding?
Yeah, we smoothed out some of the patches with our
Oh.
concrete grinder. I think the only thing we have left on from Public Works with that little project is, we have to go in there and cut the hardware off some of the nets, because we're putting new hardware on and new nets on 2 of the tennis courts. So we'll get that done this week. And that's kind of it on park stuff. I did turn off sprinklers in Field School Park this week, just so we'd have water getting on the courts. I think everything else, Willie's just been doing his job. As far as budget updates, the proposal that I presented to the Resort Tax Committee and to the council in the proposed budget for parks has the pretty much standard budget. We upped a couple things on the line items. I can't say specifically what right now, because it's been a little while, but mainly the things that Willie's been a little more active now, so his expenditures went up a little bit just in fuel and parts and stuff. So those are minor, like from a $2,500 line item, we might have bumped it to $4,000. The big changes in the parks budget are, we put in for 85 for the parks projects money. I should have brought it with me. I have a slide that shows where that money went from last year. Dave might have it. And it got spread out pretty evenly. And we only spent like 40. I was hoping to get to that skate park project, and that would have ate up a good chunk of that, but things that are evolving in that arena that I'm holding back to see what that developer's gonna do there. And so we put in for 85 for the parks projects, and then I put in the whole 82 for the Pride Park project, see if we could get that completely funded. And if we could, then there's a possibility we could get moving on that, maybe this fall, probably in the spring, but
So the new,
try and hit the window between before the pass opens or after the pass opens, kind of thing. So that's pretty much it for parks projects and budget updates, I think.
Is there anything on Arbor Day summary?
Oh, well, you guys were there, it went good.
Good, yeah.
We didn't have any volunteers, but I will say the board members of the park board and the sustainability board all stood up and worked hard, so thank you. We still have some more trees to plant. The guy that did our pruning thing is our guy that's cutting our trees down for a removal project, and it's moving at a very slow pace. So I know he's really busy, so we'll get there. But no, that went well, I thought. What did you guys think?
I thought it went well. Are they still alive?
Oh, yeah. No, and, I spoke with Willie this morning. The trees we planted last year, we thought we lost 2 of them. One of them came back. So I think we're just down to 1 tree out of.
That's amazing.
which is at Coal Miners Corner, right?
One at the very bottom that was dead, it's got.
But what about
leaves
the
on
one in the middle?
it. I think that's the dead one.
Okay.
But,
And all of them at Rotary are fine too?
mhm.
Okay, awesome.
Wow.
So, Mike, what is our new, or your new parks budget? You're
Total
saying it's 85
for
for projects?
There's a whole bunch of stuff, and I should have brought with me. There's a bunch of stuff in the parks budget. It includes half of Willie's salary,
Yeah.
there's 30 line items, but the big line item that, really is where we have some flexibility and we can make improvements in parks is in we call it, the line item is called Parks Projects. And that, I think, was normally funded around
80.
75 or 80.
Thought it was
And
80.
we put it at 85 this year, so that's the one that really matters. The rest of them, they're, O&M, operation stuff.
And you're hoping that the 82 would come directly from resort tax
The
dollars?
82 won't come out of the 85 is the way I
Okay.
proposed it.
All right.
It'll be in addition.
So what about the Girl Scout project?
Oh, that went good, I thought. I mean, I'm not sure you can tell we made a dent, but we hauled off, I don't know how many bags of weed. There must have been 15 big bags,
Nice.
filled the truck, so
Cool.
it was a good effort for 2 hours. Again, I mean, that situation is a big, solid look at.
Thanks, Mayor.
So that, rock area, so as you come in by the bank and it's north of the library,
Where the carving is.
no, it's where it's all rocks, and I think there's one shrub surviving, the rest of it is pretty much weeds.
Oh, you mean right along Boulevard Strip?
Yeah, so if some trees were planted there, in future years, who's responsible for those? I mean,
I'm not sure. I would probably not advocate on planting trees there.
yeah, just
Just
maybe,
because it's this wide and you've got a nice sidewalk right there. And
yeah,
trees eventually will tear up the sidewalk if
Mm.
they're that close to them.
okay.
Mary Dale, those were done when the highway was redone. So the roundabout was built and the highway came through and redid, and that was beautification of that.
Well, it was obvious that someone had come through with a trimmer, I think, and cut the weeds off, but they were still rooted.
That might have been Willie, because he mows that
Does
on
he?
the west
Okay.
side of that sidewalk.
Okay. Okay, I was just curious.
So Mike, we've had something it was in our agenda items a couple months ago and I just pulled it back out. So, what's the plan? Actually, Mary Dale's asked a couple of times about the status of the trail entrance / grading into Van Dyke Park. Is it on your
It's
to-do?
it's on the list to do.
Okay.
I mean, I think a lot of times when I got asked about it up there, it was about basically the access road that is the easement for Northwest Energy to maintain their power lines, and there's really nothing, not much we're gonna do with that.
Yeah, this is the trail. It's just kind of like steep and,
When they went in, it was wet, I think, and so it got rutted out, and people are still parking, where the fence was, I don't think the fence was cut, it was just,
I think
oh, I'm not talking,
She's talking about the
I'm
road.
not talking
You're
about the
talking about
Northwest
trail.
Energy thing.
no,
I'm
no,
talking
no,
about
this
the
is
left
from the
trail.
road into,
Van Dyke.
no, Remington. From the road that goes into Remington, they cut a new access
Yeah,
from
they
the
cut fence
road
there.
across the path and then down the power line. But what is happening is people, because the fence is still open, people pull in there, and so they're continuing to,
We're gonna put a gate there.
yeah, and then the path is, still rutted. It is beginning to fill in a little bit with all the rain, but,
I thought this was the steep left bank.
Oh,
This is, that's the one I'm talking about on
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
left, where
okay.
the loop happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's a foot-only trail. That's the one that I had understood the conversation
Yes.
was about too.
They were
Okay.
gonna put a pipe in there or something and flatten it out, get rid of that dip. Is that what you're talking
Oh,
about?
I don't know. I'm lost now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not,
There's two things we're talking about here. We're
Yeah,
talking about
I'm
the
sorry,
west
I
entrance.
thought you were talking
We're
about.
talking about the northwest entrance into Van Dyke Park, which is what she was talking about.
I'm talking about
And
the
the
north.
northeast foot trail going into Van Dyke Park.
yeah, I'm not.
Talking the single track tree.
I'm I'm fairly ignorant about the trail part.
So here's what we do then. Once after we've reassigned ambassadorships and everything, might be good if your description of areas in there is, you know, like you can clarify, because I thought we were talking about, because I know running in there or walking, it's kind of like a little, washout. I mean, you could fall.
Yeah, if you come off the trail, you know, that's down below the road, it's okay, into the
Yep.
park. If you come from
Off
that
the corner road,
parking
pavement
area,
into-
yeah, it's pretty steep and, you know, kind of rubbly, slippery,
Well, and that's the thing that's been on the list forever.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
well, and, you know, with the observatory there, you do have people parking over there and then coming in that way in the dark often, and so it's, you know, I don't know what can be done. I know Amy was,
Yeah, that trail part wasn't on my radar, so it is
Mm.
now.
Okay, all right.
thanks, Mike.
You might want to look at
Luke, you were doing acrobatics.
yeah, northeast corner.
Anything else?
Trying to get it right.
Anything else
Yeah,
for
you're
Mike?
Yes.
Nothing else for Mike. We'll go to the land use committee.
Can I say something for Mike real quick?
Sure.
Sorry. Hey, I just want to, the Beartooth Trails want to do a shout out for Mike. We couldn't have gotten the pump track project done without him and all his guys helping. It's everything we asked for, they provided. It was really nice with the water truck, the loaders. So it was, I just want to say thanks, Mike. We really appreciate it. Could have done without you. It turned out fantastic.
Nope, it came out good. You're welcome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We're looking forward to all the beautification additions that you were discussing. That all sounds great. So it's going to be a nice addition to coal miners.
Water over there? You gonna have water over there? You gonna?
No, not right now. If we hydro seed it, we're just gonna do like a native grass, dry land mix, something like what's up there that
So,
persists.
my only thing is they did that before and it just turned into really tall weeds. So I don't know how
The goal
you,
is to we're gonna try and fill in some of those holes up there, and like it's mowed right now, and it looks nice.
Yeah.
And I guess.
oh no, Coal
the
Miners
ultimate goal
Memorial
is
looks,
to get some
yep,
grass growing there and keep mowing it.
Yeah.
And typically, that kind
Yeah.
of grass, you know, if we hit it hard in early July, it's not gonna grow back,
yeah. Like, well, he mows the hillside once and that's all it needs.
so. that's
So
where we're at.
the only other thing about any soil that you have left, and you were trying to get rid of, you could move it.
That's their soil. They did
Oh,
all
there.
the work to
Well,
shift
the
it.
screen soil, Luke,
That's.
if you're trying to move it somewhere else, it could go down to the other end of the soccer field and just loosely spread around near the porta potty down there, 'cause it's bare and there's cold, you know.
Yeah, that soil we got 10 cubic yards extra soil, and that stuff's intended to be for future repairs to the pump track and continued upgrades to the bike park. So we'd prefer to keep it within striking distance of the track. It can move somewhere on that pad that makes more sense. Like it can stick it behind a berm, and even shave it down to make it look better.
But he doesn't have a need to dispose of surface.
Oh, okay.
They've got a lot,
No.
they've got a lot of time, money into that soil. trust
I know,
me.
I watched.
Yeah, that was
yeah, you
our
could-
golden goose,
you
was
could
that
just-
soil.
Put it behind the, berms, like,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
get with, we'll figure it out.
Yep. Well,
okay.
yeah, we can figure it out with Nick. I do think that one of the asks was going to be that track is going to have issues if it never gets watered. So the hope of the Beartooth Trails is that it'll get on the watering schedule from the water truck. Ideally is once a week, but maybe at least twice a month. It just needs us a good hose down with just a standard sprayer head. And I don't think we're going to have issues with weeds because of all the soil work we did. We filtered all the trash out of the soil, and so it's incredibly hard. So it'll take a little bit of maintenance, but I think water is actually needed on the riding surface to keep that thing in tip-top shape. And Mike, I'll have Nick reach out to you about that, and we can see about the best way to go forward, keeping that thing in good shape.
Okay.
Can I ask a question from the peanut gallery? Is that something we knew going into this that's been communicated and maybe I just missed it or other people have, or is that kind of a new, oh, by the way, this is part of the ongoing maintenance of this?
We never.
We basically loosely asked that the city help the Beartooth Trails maintain that, and putting water in that track would be part of that maintenance program. It's just,
I'm just kind of looking at it, so there's a basic fundamental, whether we're talking about pump tracks or concrete pads and ice rinks or swimming pools, everything we do is ultimately city maintenance. And we'll be talking about later on, how do we make sure that we adequately grasp and understand that? And that was just the first time I'd heard, hey, we need it sprinkled once a week to keep it in check. It's just part of the regular maintenance.
yeah, I agree. It's something that we basically learned about this track as we've gone through this process based on the soil we have here. We didn't think that it would need that much water, but it's so dry that the soil will do better and be more like a concrete surface if it gets water occasionally. And we've been watering it the whole time, and it takes about, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes to water the whole track if you've got a sprayer. So besides that, the BTA can handle everything else. It's just, it needs to get some water on it. We don't have the ability to do that because we don't have a water truck. Unless we could get that water truck put up there occasionally, and we're happy to do it. The BTA is happy to do it also.
So I think what I heard is this isn't bad communications. This is new information that we know now that we didn't know 3 months ago.
Yep, that's correct. We didn't understand the soil composition completely, but now that it's down and compacted, we've just learned that when it's watered, it stays in better shape and doesn't crack and stays more like a concrete riding surface.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Thanks.
Yep.
Number 4, Land Use Committee. Mayor, you're up.
So we put this on because when we started talking about the tennis court proposal location, we tabled it last month because you said that coming up on that Tuesday, there was a land use committee. So I guess Roger and I felt like this should be on the agenda so we understand how that meeting had information that might affect parks.
So I don't think that they did not, my recollection is they did not get to this. There was a couple other things on the agenda, so it is still on their agenda coming forward. But how it affects parks is, and this is kind of tapping into the conversation that Beth said of kind of the process they went through when they were doing a soccer field. So I went through, and I can. That's next item. Sorry. That's next item. We're not talking about that now. Oh, well.
We're talking about the land use committee and what they do in there that may affect Parks Board.
Well, so I don't think it is the next thing. I think it is this. So it's like, we have competing interests that come to us and say, hey, we want it. They're trying to come up with that process. They didn't get to it, but that's what their discussion is.
Okay, request, so basically, request to use park space also has to be addressed by land use committee. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ultimately, yeah, they're who
Okay.
ultimately approves it.
Okay, all right.
For anything, like, is there any size or, like, severity of change to the space? Anything needs to go through?
That's what they're gonna come up with. So right now, if it's new, if it's a change of use, those are the triggers that they've identified. And in fairness, those are triggers that started here.
Sure, yep.
Can I hand these out now, or no?
Yeah, so I mean, I
Are we
think.
done with that one then? Move on to the next one?
I got a comment.
Okay, Roger?
Yeah, I think Beth is correct in that what we're really looking for is to be enlightened a little bit on what is the procedure, and what triggers the triggers the land use committee's involvement in a project. And Dave, I think you've answered that fairly well. If there is a change in the land use, that would trigger it. I guess there's probably some gray areas in what exactly includes a change. You know, for instance, if we convert, let's use the example, if we convert the use of one area to another use, like tennis courts to pickleball courts, would that be something that the land use committee would have to address, or is that purely Parks and Rec and City Council? I understand that if we're taking a piece of land that has not been used for recreational purposes in the past, that would probably trigger the involvement by the land use planning committee. So I think that's what we're looking for, is how does that procedure work? What are the qualifying instances or examples that would trigger that type of a situation?
And I think that's a two-part question still. One, they're having that discussion and council is gonna dictate what all those triggers are.
Good.
So they, until they get out with that, that's not done and it's not a known. But the second part of that is, we have stuff that's in motion now. So what do we do and how do we do stuff that's in motion? Because council's gonna take, they've already said, this is gonna take all year. We're not gonna get to that before the end of this year because there's enough there and it's significant enough and we wanna do it right and be thorough, that it's gonna take us several months to do it. So then the second part of that is, what do we do with the in-motion stuff right now, rather than saying all Parks and Rec are on hold for a year? What do we do? And that's kind of where we have that conversation.
Yeah, so can I time out there then? So basically, where we're also trying to set precedent for how these things process through, it sounds to me like Land Use Committee is trying to up their game and have a procedure of triggering approvals also. So that answers our question there, Roger.
If number 3 is, what updates are there? There were no updates, they didn't get to it.
Okay. Good to know.
And are you,
Still on their agenda.
Yeah.
will you and Ann bring that back to us once?
When they
Okay.
do that, absolutely. And anybody from this group is welcome to attend those meetings
Sure.
as they discuss that.
And that would be helpful, I think.
And Chelsea Tupin is the committee chair of that, so
Okay.
anybody who, I'm trying to think what they talked on last time that they didn't end up getting to it, but it was on the agenda, but it was not the first thing on the agenda, they just didn't get to it.
She's the chair, Chelsea's the chair. Okay,
Chelsea's the chair.
so then legitimately, Rod, I think that addressed 4. And now we're on 5.
Now we're on to 5.
Well,
I'll let you run with that one. That's your-
Well, I would like to start then with why we put this on the agenda. So, it's obvious that there is a procedure that has been used in some instances where Parks Board gives a nod, hey, that sounds great, expanding the Frisbee golf, or that sounds great, making space available for both pickleball and tennis courts. That nod isn't enough to proceed with development of a project. And we have all kinds of situations where we have experience with different formats, and I think it depended on who the city planner was attending the meetings. I think it depended on who the board members were, and we're trying to get to a place where we have a better understanding of what the city wants from us when we're working with potential user groups or existing user groups that are looking for change. And therefore, be able to give guidance to both you, pickleball, tennis, and anybody that brings together a proposal of what to do. And we know we have, like, the ice rink thing at Lions is something that I'm sure we're gonna be hearing about in the next 6 months. I know for a fact they wanna,
Ultimately, when you look at the fact that it is a commitment of public lands, and it is a de facto commitment for maintenance, maybe not initially, but someday down the road, when you make a decision to put in a pool, or an ice skating rink, I use that one because that's the next one up that's really big, you are in fact making a decision that this is what you're to do for maintenance, and this is what the ongoing thing is, and here's what can be there, and here's what can't be there, and all of those sort of things. So those are ultimately council's decision. That's not a planner's decision, that's not a mayor's decision, those are council's decisions. And so how do we get their go-ahead early on? How do we get them the right information? How do you, like you said, let's put the, are we good to start pursuing this? And so with Bess, I pulled up the MOUs in it, and it wasn't even an MOU for the operation and maintenance, it was an MOU about the designing it and building it. That council approved. What do you?
Well, we have
Linda
three.
say?
We have three. I don't know where
Yeah.
they are. I'll find them in storage or somewhere, but we had three. We had a go ahead and use this area and do design development. We had one for construction, and we had one for O&M. Thank you.
Let me give this to you, because I think this will ultimately come into play for you guys as well. And that's part of it. This is where I think you guys have input about, hey, this is what we think, or what it needs, or, like I said, you guys are gonna make the recommendations to council of, we think it ought to go boom, boom, boom. And council will say, yep, we're good with that. Hey, we wanna be involved sooner. Hey, we wanna get way on. So that one was kind of new and interesting, because it was an MOU to develop it. It wasn't it's now yours and you're in charge of it. It was kind of dictating some of the earlier stuff that council signed off, go do it. And so if you, like I said, I look at the ice skating thing, because that to me is the next one that's kind of this same level of scale and big. It's like, before, we've got $2 million, but has council signed off that, hey, we're gonna rip up Lions Park and put that in there? And they haven't. They've talked about it, they had really loose ideas, but we need a paper trail.
Well, nobody's talked about the budget to maintain it.
Yeah,
That's a real budget. Just to feed it power, and it's gonna be like swimming pool.
I know they
Or
have
close
formed a committee, and they're
I mean, where's
figuring
that-
out what they're-
Where's the money for that gonna come from out of the parks budget?
It's in
It's gonna be like the pool in a way. It's
Right.
gonna have its own budget.
were put out, they were
It's not, I mean,
right.
and even the bike pump track, we just learned today, that has an ongoing budget.
well,
We need weekly sprinklers.
you guys did a great job of mowing the soccer fields. Now we are, eventually, Public Works is gonna absorb all these things. Right, I expect at some point, we're gonna be, right now, we're not mowing Lions Park, 'cause the Lions Club does, but I don't think it's very far down the road where they're not gonna be capable of that. We're gonna end up taking that over too, which is fine, but it's just,
No, you're
when we
right.
look at these projects, the mayor's right. We need to look at them with the assumption that Parks, Public Works, whatever, the city is gonna be responsible for maintaining these, and it may be simple as having Willie mow that. I feel like, well, the pool is not simple in any way, fashion, or form. But
Right.
I gotta feel like an ice skate rink might be closer to the pool than a soccer field
Yeah.
in terms of city management.
So when we started wanting to put the soccer field up at Upper Coal Miners Park, we were told very emphatically, you will not get any money from the city, and you will take care of all the O&M. That's just what was granted. So we raised all the money, we built it, that was all very involved with the city. Well, DQ was involved for like 2 years and then failed. So it had weird paper trail, but when we finally got onto it, and then the O&M, so now we have to write the O&M. Okay, what does the soccer, which I'm not on the soccer club anymore, but what does soccer agree with the city? And it was written that, we would take care of it. And that the city would consider, and it was in there, and I'll find it, is that, eventually there would be some sharing of responsibilities if the city agreed to that. It wasn't given. And so we still operate the well and the sprinklers and are turning it on and off, keep it simple.
But
And
I feel
you guys
like-
took on mowing,
I
right?
feel like eventually, more than likely, the cities, it'll be like the other parts where we're responsible for the sprinklers and I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's a bad thing. It's city ground, it's city resource.
Yep,
The council said they wanted soccer fields, yeah.
Just
I
needs
mean,
to be
but I-
discussed and not
I'm just saying
assumed
that when
that.
we consider these things, we need to do it with the mindset that it's not a one and done deal.
right,
This is a commitment
definitely.
until it's no longer.
So let's say that ice hockey
skating
starts
rink
out
or
saying, we're gonna maintain
Frisbee
it.
golf or whatever. You know, it's just, and it's not a negative, it's just, and I feel like we are fortunate that we have resort tax, we have some money to do this, and that's
Yeah.
good use for it.
So-
But just realize that
Yep.
moving forward, you know,
So is it possible for us to table ice rink because they haven't come to us again? And that is gonna take a lot of our resources. I think that,
My question
we have a
is not-
user group sitting here that has asked to develop something. Might we focus on the short term? I mean, they're hearing that, yeah, you can't build something and then we take care of it immediately. It's gonna be an ebb and flow thing.
No, I think that, I
right?
mean, that could be, I'm not saying that the city has to take over right away. I think it's great that the RTA, you know, they're committed to working to maintain the pump track, but they need a little help with it. That's good. The Frisbee people have never, well, hardly asked the city for anything, and they do a good job of maintaining it, but at some point, Tom's not gonna be here anymore, or people might not be as adamant about it, and it will fall in the
Yeah.
city. The same thing will happen with the tennis courts. Right now, the pickleball folks, they do great stuff down there. Are
Yep.
they gonna be there in 10 years?
Right,
Who knows? But we're still gonna have to take care of it.
And my concern, Beth, is you're saying ice rink hasn't come to us. We haven't told them what they want us to come with yet. We haven't said, we want you to come with the plan. We haven't gone to Tom Foley and said, we want you to come with us a plan. That's why we're
Right.
pulling your stuff out as a template.
right. So, I get it. So what we're trying to do though is develop, you know, do we want these guys,
A
these
process.
user groups to develop a draft MOU that says what your intentions are, you lay out with mapping and show locations. It's also something that I wasn't here when you did your final discussion that night, but I feel like when there's multi-user groups on a park, it is good to have something that we can share with the other user groups. For instance, like when batting cages blocked a hole that you had, right? Or, you know, they did something that we talked about, but nobody realized there was a hole down there. And so, same thing, if baseball is gonna impact something that you're doing or vice versa, then they get an opportunity to come and talk about it because we have a document that actually says, here's what they intend to do.
Now we're saying the same thing. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. That's what we need to do.
Right.
What is it? What does that look like?
Right.
What is this group's input? And then
Right.
council signs off on that and everybody says, yep, this is how we're gonna do it.
So is there any sort of template out there that exists? Like, do we need to review a template and tweak it? Do we need to
That's
create
why I
a
handed
template?
that's why I handed that out, because
Right,
if I, when I
are you
look-
suggesting this is the format?
what I'm saying is, when it's been done in the past, the stuff that has done what Beth is describing as the smart and the good way to do this, this is the project that I know did that. So I went and pulled everything we had from the city to do that.
Yep.
There's an O&M one that I do not have a copy of yet, that we know exists, but I wasn't able to find the soft copy of it.
Right.
But that's what this was, and that's why I gave that to them. And Beth has said, before we do an MOU even, is there even a resolution that says, yes, proceed to the MOU stage?
Okay, so if the assumption is that this is gonna be the template, what do we need to agree on or discuss, or what's the
I don't
topic
know
at
if that's
hand,
the
I
something,
guess?
I was asked to bring it, so you guys could throw it into
Well,
your mix.
So I think an
it's a
MOU,
good idea.
Okay,
It's an idea of something that worked.
right, but I think an MOU, you know, it takes a bunch of time, it's a multi-page document. Maybe the first thing, I think I said to this on the phone, it's a combination of resolutions and MOUs. And you decide, the city gives the guidance on which is more appropriate at the time. So if, for instance, disc golf was gonna do a one-page resolution, hey, we just want a nod from city council that we can add in more holes or whatever, then that gives them something to go on. Tennis courts, we already know we want some geotech and things, so they just spell that out in a resolution. And you have a 1.5-page legal document instead of a 7-page document.
It's the paper trail
Can I
that
interject?
go to all that are there, so.
Yeah, but like, they
it's
have a great
baseball.
presentation, or like the, observatory also has presented us with great presentations. So are we saying that that's not, like, that presentation isn't sufficient, it's not covering everything that needs to be addressed? We also, in addition, need disc golf to submit the 1.5-page.
My 2 cents is, yes, that's a
type
fair statement. Just because somebody,
situation.
because
This is
somebody comes and does
becomes a
a
legal
bang-up
document.
presentation for parks doesn't mean it's good to move forward.
Sure, right, okay.
It
So
means
that's all I'm
parks now
clarifying.
understand-
I'm not quite sure, because we've been talking about ice rink, and somebody mentioned trying to make a decision. I'm not sure what we're deciding on right now. Like, what are we,
So we're going back to the agenda item, which is, what is the process to tell?
Can I interject a comment?
so, talk about that?
Roger.
We are.
What's that? Can I interject a
Go ahead.
comment? I'm not there, so I don't have that handout the mayor handed out, but I think it'd be helpful if the mayor was given a chance to just go over that handout verbally so we can see what's on it and listen to what's on it. But on top of that, I just want to say that every project that comes to either us or eventually goes to the city council for approval needs to have a document, and it could be an MOU that could be followed up with an approval through a resolution that addresses several items. Why is the project needed? Who's requesting it? Who's going to develop it? And who is going to pay for the development and the ongoing maintenance of it? Because Mike is exactly right, particularly when you're talking about service organizations agreeing to maintain public recreation areas. Service organizations have a habit of coming and going. And every approval of a recreational facility is a commitment by the city that they may eventually have to inherit the maintenance of that facility. And so
We need to focus on.
I think you could have one MOU that really covers all of that. But I would like to hear what the mayor has in his outline there. His proposal.
I would have Beth go over that because she's ultimately more familiar with it, but just going back and kind of echoing Mike's statement, we're talking about $82,000 on Pride Park next year.
Yes.
That was, club came and had city land and turned it into a park. Guess what? It requires more maintenance and what's it. So part of the reason that I'm specifically calling out different projects is so that this isn't, here is a talk about the observatory, here's a
Okay,
talk about.
So
this.
I would just like to mention the Pride Park thing real quickly, because Roger and I were a little confused. And Mike said, well, that's a maintenance project for Public
I
Works.
think it is.
Yeah.
Those planters are rotted out.
Right, so
Benches are falling apart.
maintenance projects like redoing the corner of the tennis park to make it usable by pickleball was a maintenance thing, and we didn't get super involved because,
Yeah, we weren't changing the
Right.
use,
I
but,
feel
but,
like-
but that's part of the
I feel like
initial
The
discussion.
pump track was, I mean, and I may be reaching for straws here, but that was maintenance. There was a pump track there when I
Right.
got here, there was a pump track there, we just made it better. Maintenance, I mean, we didn't change the footprint,
And,
same spot.
and that didn't have to go to counselor, but what I'm saying is, when you start it the first time, we need to take into account those realities.
You also need to take in
Okay.
reality that, again, I'm not making a big deal about the pump track. The watering of, I think it's a fairly small maintenance item and it's needed. But that evidently turned out to be a surprise to the mayor that that's an obligation that the city's going to have to inherit somehow. Not a big deal, but you get a lot of those, all of a sudden, those little items become an impact for, maybe there's maintenance we haven't thought about with the tennis courts. Maybe there's going to be maintenance with the ice skating rink that is all of a sudden going to surprise. After a while, those compound and it becomes a burden on the budget and a burden for the management and manpower for Mike. So all those things that need to be identified at the very beginning.
Yeah, and what complicates things at coal miners that I've had indigestion about is we have this old MOU that includes disc golf, bike, your pump track, Luke, bike people, but it wasn't the pump track called out, soccer and baseball. And we were all lumped together into one MOU, and it's the coal miners. It still is out there. It's older than dirt, and it hasn't been signed by several parties. But I think that it's not a done deal that the city has to take on watering the pump track. I think that maybe BTA should do an MOU about how we're going to share in the O&M of that and what's logical, and bring that forward so that in protection of your assets too, Luke, I would want that. You
I
put
totally
sweat
agree.
equity and money in that. Yeah. And then I think with your expansion, I think we should break that MOU up, and baseball should have one, and I think Frisbee golf should have one.
Yep.
And soccer should have, well, soccer has their own now anyway. We're actually in two, and one of them's obsolete, so, or they are.
And I didn't have access to those, so I can, because I don't know that I'd heard that there was an MOU that everybody was on. I don't
Yeah,
remember that, but-
it's about 15, 20 years old, right, Tom? Been around a long time. And we've kicked the can down the road with getting back to the MOUs, and I think now it's gonna become a priority. This board needs to, maybe the ambassadors can help with that and look at their specific MOUs, but, as Sarah pointed out, somebody brings a great presentation. They've talked about all the technical whereabouts and what they want, but obviously there is a contract phase that's with the city.
I mean, I look at this like, I'm speaking way out of turn here, but we come with a proposal, to just figure out whether the appetite's even there.
Right.
That's the first nod.
And we give a nod.
And you've given a nod, but we understand, and the reason we haven't done anything is because we understand that the city has to bless it somehow.
Yeah.
City blessing it looks like an MOU or a resolution or whatever, and so, I mean, we're really here to help.
Right, because
Right.
you're
Figure
entering
out
into
the
a
process.
contract. You're
And-
entering into a contract with the city.
And I wasn't
There's no
suggesting that the presentation was it. I'm suggesting then let's get down what needs to be in that resolution or contract.
And
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, and in fairness, when I bump into Tom, Tom says, okay, what do you need from me? What's next? And I don't know. That's what I'm saying. You guys in council, tell me, what is it we need next?
I would ask if an MOU is really the appropriate document. I mean, it was mentioned before that these groups come and go, and tying a group to a specific obligation of maintenance and everything, it's somewhat unrealistic, because they do fade. So what we're really talking about is an O&M transition plan. What does it really cost to maintain this thing right now? What is it gonna cost in the foreseeable future? And when will the city ultimately absorb that? Because Mike's right, they will.
and I'm gonna argue.
That's
So I don't know,
that we need to.
I don't know, a
solve
legally
right there.
binding document, what is gonna hold up in that case when the next group.
I don't even think
MOU
it's
can be-
illegal. It's more of a paper trail and covering the city's tracks and making sure we've.
And an MOU can be for a length of time.
Yeah, they are. They're never more than 5 years.
They should be shorter, and then they should be reevaluated, but it could be that, I mean, I'm gonna use, use an example, if an organization purchases equipment, and they don't want it to be, it's placed there, they're gonna be responsible for it, and if they decide they're not gonna support it anymore and they wanna pull it out, then that should be spelled out in the MOU, and the use of the ground, but then these assets are transitioning back to the purchasing party, or these assets are the property are being donated to the city and are forever going to be the property of the city, like, all of that.
Like a water tank for the bike track. Do
Right.
they own that and they water it for a while and then, hey, we're gonna give it to the city and the city will use that to do it?
And so I think there's lots of steps here. The answer, your question's good, Sarah, like, what's the steps? You need a flow chart and a checklist for what you do when people walk in here. And is it a maintenance request? If I'm coming in right now, we're sitting here with a maintenance request. We're talking about upgrading and updating the existing disc golf course. That's one piece of it. Then the second piece is we're asking for land use and to expand it. Now, that's a different project. So I really do think that, to answer your question, spending a little time with whether it's a flow chart or a checklist, like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Do I need to go to land use for this? Pump track didn't need to go to land use. It was maintenance, right? So Parks Board can work with Public Works, give them the nod, they're paying for it. Still needs to be some agreement about how it's to be taken care of. But you guys, like, the flow chart makes the most sense. And we understand you're not the hang up in the process here, like this group. We're just trying to figure out what we need to do to move forward. And I know it's as painful as this for us. We got a bunch of people that want to put shovels to the ground and start working on something, and they're looking at us like, how come we can't start? We can't either.
Well, I'm going to interject again here if I can. That's a great comment, and I can't see who made it. And the comment by the fellow before that was a good comment too. We need a checklist. We need a process. And if somebody comes to the Parks Board and says, I have an idea that I'd like to build, and it's a group, we'd like to build such and such in a certain park or in a new area, and we would like approval for that, I think we should say, we need to know, who's behind it, who's proposing it, how much is it going to cost, who's paying for it, who's going to be responsible for the maintenance. And all that needs to be settled before this group makes any kind of recommendation, whether that is to the land use planning committee or directly to the city council, whether that's approved or not.
And I think one thing that in that list that you didn't mention was, what are the potential impacts to other projects? Because I think that's where Parks comes in. Parks would say, hey, baseball, have you thought about what the impact is of putting this is going to be to the Frisbee golf folks? You guys have a little bit more of that. You guys are like reviewing the application before it goes to council and spotting problems or questions that aren't addressed that should have been asked, so that council has all the best information.
That is spot on.
I do like your idea of a standard flow chart that everyone works through, because then everyone's treated the same.
Yep.
And it's standardized, and I think it's really simple, and it's, I think you could sit down and figure out, start here and you go through and a flow chart, and it's a great idea. It's probably what we need.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this board could say, it's a wonderful idea. Here is the flow chart. Here are the steps you need to go through with this. Come back with the answers to it, and before we can make any recommendation or consideration for it. And who does this flow chart? I don't know. Maybe a member of our committee works with Mike on and trying to develop this.
And ultimately that's council, but if this board puts together a flow chart and the steps,
I think it comes from here.
yeah, it originates here, and then they say, yeah, we like it, but tweak it this way. And I know they'll appreciate it. Everybody here's the solution. All you have to do is sign it and take credit for it. Oh yeah, well, that's kind of like.
So we need a flow chart.
So we need a new agenda item for another meeting to talk through the flow chart.
What we need is a flow chart and a process.
Subcommittee?
A draft to start with.
I mean, we don't have to
If I make a
read.
draft, can I bring it the next time?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
I don't think we're gonna wait till then, honestly. I think,
If somebody does it sooner, that's no problem.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
so the thing is, we have, an MOU has specific parts to it, and it's, we can list those out. And if you wanna lump it all in, I mean, I can only talk from the project I was on, we had phases. And that's what the city wanted us to do. We're only granting you to this phase. And then when you get there, we're gonna do this again. And then we talked for another 2 years about the next phase. And we're not trying to do that anymore. But I do think that there's nuts and bolts to an MOU that can be put in the flow chart. And I hear other things that aren't in here, but, you know, cost and shared O&M. I personally feel like if a user group brings something forward, they shouldn't assume that all the O&M is gonna be on the city. Maybe it gets addressed later, but, you know, I don't think we can do all that.
No, we can't.
Can't take it all on.
I'm not, like, all I'm saying is that if a user group wants to do O&M, that's great, but and when you look at these projects, I think you ultimately need to look at it with the mindset that it is gonna become a city responsibility at some point, or it could. I'm not saying it's always going to, but that is definitely, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it should be part of the decision process. That should be a factor that you take into effect when you say, yeah, let's do this. And if there is an agreement with the user group where they're gonna take care of it, like Rotary, or like Lions Park, which is I don't know the history, but I feel like the Lions Club has probably always mowed that.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
I'm happy
and
to
that's
take a
great.
stab at a flow chart and
but-
checklist. Melissa, would you get together for coffee some morning and go over it with me? Roger, or anybody else on the board, I think we could have one more person work on it without having
I
board
would,
rules.
I would be happy to assist with that. And I just want to say that the flow chart is going to inform the MOU. If we go through the steps of the flow chart, you know, in the right
Yeah.
way, that'll help inform the MOU. The MOU is going to be sort of the final project that's brought, you know, the final thing that's brought for approval for the city council or whoever.
Gotcha.
If needed, yep. The checklist just guides this group. And the proposal.
Okay.
Thanks,
Well-
Melissa.
Parks Board people are very aware that we need to give guidance on
Yeah.
things. And,
And I'm
Take a
actually
stab
gonna
at it
request
and
that land
maybe-
use and planning listens to this meeting before their next meeting, so.
okay,
Okay. We ready?
is there anything else? I think that's what we wanted to, we knew it was a can of worms and we knew that it needed to get on here. Roger,
And we're not done.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I thought we were like, I thought that was already decided, that we knew that we needed these things. And so I
We know-
thought we were like just talking through what, like the template or what we were gonna include on there.
Throw those ideas out.
So, just save it for another time.
So that's who you're gonna get with Melissa and
yeah,
Roger?
I'm gone, I'm around next week, so, are you around?
We're headed out of town for a week
Okay,
when I get
and I
back.
leave tomorrow for 4 days, so when you get back, okay.
And I'll find your email address and send you some thoughts. So we can-
And I just asked Tom for your contact info, so. All right,
Thanks for taking a
Thanks.
stab on it, Beth and Melissa, to start with.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That's a big one.
If anybody's upset, it's Dave's fault, and move on.
Oh, no,
right.
no one's upset. Okay,
We move on to, ambassador assignments.
okay, so Roger, in lieu of you not being here, but I'm just passing out the table that we talked about, that we used before, and for some reason, I'm forced into Google Docs and I can't work in it, because I don't think I have authorization to work in this, so I might be recreating it. But in lieu of time, Rod, maybe we just,
You know,
Yeah.
really do.
get people assigned to parks or signed up, thank you.
Thanks, you guys,
Thanks,
for
Tom.
coming.
Good discussion.
Well,
that we get people assigned to parks or the ones they wanna be on. I'm gonna say the right hand is kinda old, or the middle to the right hand. Did I give you one, Mike?
Okay.
You want one?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we came up with this Parks Ambassador to not make life harder, but to try to not forget parks that don't get all the attention, and that, like, Amy was pretty diligent that we spent, if no more than 20 seconds each meeting, just and she was, like, if you talked longer, she'd cut you off.
We were good.
It was really good. So it's like, and if you had no items, then be quiet and don't say anything. Like, park's fine. And we moved on. But I think it helps, it doesn't have to be a Parks Board member, but the park owner is really gonna become the park ambassador. You don't own it. You don't own any work. It's really meant to be what's interesting to you and where do you walk or use for recreation, where can you check out things? And then you can come back and say, hey, did you notice that this sign got vandalized last week, or something like that, or dog poop is increasing here, and, you know, we have all kinds of issues that come up, but we've kind of gotten away from this the last year, so we wanted to assign again. And for some reason, Roger and Mary Dell got stricken because I was trying to edit it, and it just strikes you out, so,
I thought they were sweating.
I got one.
I thought you
Oh,
were trying to kill me
yeah.
some.
So, do you want to go down through this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Creekside, pardon?
Did we lose some?
Oh,
Extra joiners.
we do
And
have
Chris Peters is
people on,
joined twice.
oh,
I don't know.
okay, they're all muted. So Creekside is a park that got, kind of basically wiped out during the flood. It was a place where you could access down to the creek. It was close to the storage units. And, I don't know that there's anybody that can do
Right, go,
anything
go,
right
go, go.
now. And
We just move them.
okay, so Chris Peters, is he the guy that did that?
No,
'Cause
I
he
think it
on
was Emma that it
There
went
was
away to.
also someone named Raquel.
Well,
that
the
was
Emma
on.
name kept changing.
Oh, yeah,
It
it
was
looked, yeah,
like,
you're right.
Gosh.
So who's Judy? Judy, do we
She's
have you?
Who's
That's a
Judy?
good
Yes,
question.
exactly.
I don't know, but I'm starting to think that.
Oh,
Okay.
boy.
We got,
Oh, did you see that word?
Yeah,
yeah, everybody close their eyes, because I can find out who that was doing that.
we have 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Yeah, let's have Roger on. Roger?
Yeah.
Roger's in.
Well, I finally hit
Roger's
the video
That
button.
That was Emma. Anyway,
Oh, my
so we're
gosh.
good.
All right. So Creekside,
I think Chris is valid, Emma's not getting back in.
Good thing you know how to do all that, because I wouldn't have been able to shut that down.
No.
Yeah, good job, Mayor.
yeah, thank you, Dave.
Yep.
I would've just unplugged the computer.
Yeah, me too. I was like, turn the screen down.
I can fix it.
Call in on your phone.
Okay.
So I just think Creekside, we shouldn't assign right now. It was always like DEQ was gonna determine whether the concrete gets removed there and, you know, where people,
We're at-
This is the one that you and I talked down by the bank thing. And I actually would like to see some seed and stuff get done, because this actually nice, it just needs cleaned up. It's not Lions Park, but it's still kind of a cool little place.
Yeah, the swimming hole right now is pretty dangerous in that spot.
Yeah.
There's rebar poking up all over.
Is there any, like, opportunity to not marry it, but kind of at the same time that we're addressing the, house removal, what's it called, the mansion house or whatever.
Yeah, and
Like
they're
some of that
not,
stuff?
they're not gonna join, so there's not, that was one of the issues with Creekside before, is they were
With
trying to figure
FEMA.
out how to join it, and there isn't.
Okay,
That it's a standalone, but I still think it has validity as a standalone.
yeah, okay.
And if we wanna just move on and stick my name on it and move on.
Okay.
Okay, Mayor.
Let's
You're
move
gonna
on.
Love it.
personally remove all the
It's
cement
not
blocks and
connected.
rebar?
No, I'm just
Not
gonna be the
connected.
ambassador and say, hey, it's got dirt.
Yep, all right. Dog park,
That's
Sarah,
Ann
I
Rude.
tried to take you off and put
Oh.
on, is it the both of you though?
No, just Ann.
Ann, okay. All right. Finn, Roger, are you still with Finn Park?
I'm still with
Yeah.
Finn Park.
Okay, we'll forget that. I'm just creating a new spreadsheet, I can't stand the.
What's so funky, your access is funky.
McGillen and Airport Trails.
Luke.
I
Oh,
think I
thought
picked
it
that
was
up last
Luke?
meeting. Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
nice,
it's new one for
thank
me.
you.
Yep.
Pride Park,
I think it was gonna be an external, or Ann said no, she didn't want to. I think we were gonna try and recruit an external, someone from like the garden
Garden
club or
club?
something to be an
Yeah.
ambassador.
okay. Does anybody know any of the Garden Club people?
I do.
I know
do too.
one or two, yeah.
And Mike
Can you-
deals with them a lot.
Can you,
Yeah,
can you ask Sarah or Mary Dell if somebody
Yeah.
wants to be
I
the,
can reach out to them.
okay,
I'll be talking to them anyway, I'll say we need an ambassador, and I think I know.
just someone that has their eyes and ears checking the park and would report to us if there was an
By
issue.
de facto, that exists, I don't have a specific name for it right now. If something comes up down there, they usually reach out to me and say, hey, the fence is broke, or whatever, or sprinkler needs fixed. So,
Could the park ambassador be like garden club
Yeah,
general,
just put
or does
garden
it have to
club
be a person?
Nope, I
that's
think
the
that's
right
fine.
answer.
Okay.
Okay. Skate park,
Somebody threw that at me last time, and I'm fine
That's
with.
just, we wanted to see you on a skateboard.
Yeah,
You know what?
Me too.
I think,
closed,
I think there was a
Fairfield.
draft and I didn't transfer it over because I was not having luck editing.
Yeah, and I'm happy
Rod.
to do it if nobody else.
Okay. Field school also?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna make things simple. We're gonna pass by Rotary for just a minute. Van Dyke, Mary Dell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, coal miners, Beth and Luke, I have that. It's just not in
Yep.
the edits. Okay, so Rotary Park hasn't had, that's a big park.
I think if you reached out to Sandy or, Charlotte, either one, they would be it.
Roger, were you doing that?
Yeah, I volunteered to do Rotary Park.
Oh.
And I've
Awesome.
reached out to Sandy about a cleanup, with the Rotary, with the Rotary Club.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Charlotte Carter.
Carla Carter, there's a tongue twister.
A what?
That's a tongue twister. Awesome. Look at us. Okay, so Lions Park, Madeline used to, specific to the rink, I don't think that anyone's
Sarah,
talked to
you
her.
stepped up to-
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and I
right.
need to connect with Madeline, because I'd like her to still kind of be ambassador or involved from a rink, from an ice rink perspective, or just somebody, you know, a touch point person, I guess.
I think she'd do it.
I think so too, yeah.
I would volunteer Tom Coons for that.
Yeah, or Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely gets things done when we complained about stuff over there. Nobody wants, now, we've never broken up Lions Park this way before.
Mm-mm.
And I don't know that anybody's paid attention. I think the Moose Trails gazebo and volleyball area kind of combine, with Lions Park, but how do you feel about that?
I think it's fine as one, like we used to do it. The Moose Trails, I don't know that there's much this year to address because it just got
We did have some, but it was just somebody basically that reported it in, and I relayed it on to Mike, and Willie went out and got it taken care of.
Okay.
But there were several boards, and like the tire swing was out and stuff, so that
Okay.
was just general public feedback.
Yeah,
Versus if we had an ambassador, they could have maybe noticed it
gone out
before.
and looked, yeah,
Do the
yeah.
Boys and Girls Club go down there on a daily basis or weekly basis?
I don't know if it's daily, but that's something else I'm happy to look into
Yeah, I mean, I
or
think
find
that-
out.
I would assume, I'm guessing
Part
that
of the
they're a
MOUs,
pretty
I
heavy
think.
user of that area, so
Or
they'd
user.
have eyes on it and could report things. I
Okay.
mean,
That's a good idea.
Willie stops by there once in a while and looks at it, but for the most part, it's kind of off our radar, you know.
I drive by every day
react when we
most
hear
of
about it.
Yeah,
Well, I
and that's
remember,
kinda what happened with the stuff sitting outside the restrooms, the leftover Red Lodge ice items, somebody just,
Somebody said about it, we reached out,
Yeah.
they got it taken care of.
yeah.
Yeah, so we added on, the pool isn't on here.
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
a park?
It is considered one of our parks.
Okay, and we had Maples as the ambassador.
I would put the pool manager at Aubrey Kramer. Because if there's
Yeah.
something wrong with the pool, she lets me know.
Okay.
And then you've got that second list I gave you just to see if there's anything on that that ought to
And the
be on
Highway 212, were we gonna see if Amy would, were you gonna text Amy to see if she would be the ambassador for that?
I did text her about that, and I have not heard
Okay.
back.
She was
That's-
down there one day working on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she spent some time.
Okay, so we've never talked about Diamond Links. I don't know what City Lights Park is, Mountain Spring Villa Park, these,
Those are all-
Mount Springs Villa Park, we call it useless park.
these are all
Those
listed,
are basically just fairground.
they're all
Those-
listed in the park master plan.
But they're undeveloped largely, aren't they? Undeveloped parks?
A lot of them are undeveloped, or not developed yet. And there's one here that's called Spires Park. I wonder if that's separate from Moran? Or if that,
That's that little chunk that's up by the ditch, I think, inspires, and they,
that's
because
Moran.
Moran is up
That's
there
Moran.
too. So that's the one I'm thinking. I don't know if that's one and the same.
Diamond Links number 2 park?
Spires have an HOA, like would that
Both
part be
hospitals.
part of the HOA care?
it's a little tiny.
Well, again,
chunk of ground,
they are
but it's
required
room.
It's
to
still
set it
city,
aside
okay.
when
Yeah,
it's city
hardly.
use.
Okay,
Unless we have an MOU or something that says they do it
okay.
with the developer, but.
Well, I think we can address some of these things when we look at the parks master plan, because they're listed in there.
Yeah, I know, like, Spires reached out to me recently, I can't remember, I think they wanted us to do something with that park up there, but I spoke with Lonnie, and basically it stopped at the fact that they still, we don't own, that's not city property.
I think that it is actually.
I think she looked at it, said it wasn't. So that kind of was where we just stopped things, 'cause,
What's West Bench Park?
I think that's the linear,
I think
That's
it's
the
that
trail.
little strip of land just this side of Pine.
yeah, it goes from the hospital or, yeah,
There's a couple chunks in there.
over. You can take the cart path down to the hospital, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
West, West Bench Park, not
The
Diamond
wellness?
C.
The wellness
Well, that
path?
would be West Bench. That is the West Bench. I think it's a
There,
linear,
there's two separate ones. There's
I've
a
got a
triangle
whole-
north of that.
yeah.
I've got them all on GIS, so I can send you a picture, a map that shows them all. If you want, I can send it out tomorrow in an email.
Are those pieces of land dedicated parkland?
I don't know if dedicated is the right word, I think
Yeah,
they're kind of set aside, I don't.
Yeah,
they're not
the number of parks
dedicated.
we have dedicated is really remarkably small.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're not, and I don't know the
No, and
definition
the
of
master
dedicated, but
Van Dyke is not.
There's a
they're,
resolution.
they're ground, they're chunks of ground that
Land
have been
south of the airport or something like that.
designated maybe
Yeah.
as potential
So,
park or
it
something.
definitely needs to be
Is
up
that
there,
correct?
Yeah.
So are you saying that you could give us a map that points to these?
you know.
Awesome, because I don't know
Does
where,
that have the acreage
City
on
Lights
it,
Park-
each one?
Yeah, this is from your slide
Yeah,
presentation.
so that came from the map, I can just make PDF and send it out in the mail.
well,
That'd be awesome.
there's 4 that have never been on our radar.
Well, I think we could address that maybe when we look at the update of the master plan.
I'll call it map of park land,
Okay.
how's that? Not parks.
Anything else in regard to the ambassador stuff?
So Beth, you'll have a new,
I'll clean it up and
Spreadsheet.
send it to you.
okay.
Mayor,
Roger,
can I make another comment? Rod?
Yes,
Yes,
It's kind of interesting to listen to our discussion, and a lot of us are going, where's this park and what is that park? I think at some point we may want to think about either having a special meeting or dedicating a meeting. And Mike can provide us a map, so that'd be fine. But I think we ought to have a little bit of a field trip and actually go out and look at these sites. So we all know, we all have a common knowledge of that park, where it is, what it has, what it includes. For instance, Dave brought up Moran Park and what was the other one? Spires Park.
fire,
Are they one and the same, or is Moran just a trail as part of that park? But I think it'd be healthy for us to
I've
get
been out
together
there.
and carpool sometime
I see Maureen.
and just go look at these,
Yeah.
all these parks.
Okay, that'd be fun,
I think that's a great idea.
when it's cooler.
I like it.
There is?
Do you wanna schedule something like that fairly soon, Roger?
Yeah. I guess what I'd like to maybe just get a little affirmation or a little confirmation of whether we want to have it as a special meeting or if we want to have a dedicated meeting to that.
I think a special meeting would be great.
And I think CART will probably be available to come do that. We've used them for the URD and stuff a couple times, so they come and drive their little vans. So there's less vehicles going out there and everybody's,
That would be ideal to have everybody together in one vehicle, if we could do that. I can certainly work on it. It might be good to do it before the days get too short. If we want to do it in the evening.
Yeah. And it depends on, how much work would that be for you, Mike, to get a chart where all those things are,
What's that?
You still have it?
or where all these parklands are?
It's done. I'm gonna email to you tomorrow.
Awesome.
Oh,
Thank you.
there it was,
Nice.
on a public
great.
government meeting.
I think it was in a budget presentation last year.
it was this year too, yeah.
So, yeah, there's a map that shows though.
I feel like I need a pillow to sit.
And it may, we might find out it's not complete, or like you said, that there's
Yeah.
overlap. And
Yes.
there's gonna be some additions. We're gonna be
Oh.
adding
Yeah,
Uncle Milty's or whatever it's called.
no,
No.
no.
Not that name.
Pardon?
I wanted to be that name.
There's a lot of people that do.
Let's
And
let's not get too far off.
do you remember what was
Yeah,
Uncle Milty's?
that's why my great-grandpa's name was Milt Kylo, so we always thought that was kind of funny. No, that would be a weird name for a park.
And then there's a chunk that we're extracting from the airport, that's all the parking between the airport and that we need to set aside too. So that it's not, we don't current control over that to the airport, but it's still city land that's available for the rodeo and stuff, so.
And I think that would be a good one to add to the tour, because to me, that's a little bit vague and to exactly where that is. I think it'd be nice to go see all those sites.
Is that on the list?
It is not,
Not yet, yeah,
not yet, yeah.
like Uncle Milty's isn't quite on there yet, yeah,
Bastion, I said. Sam.
Oh, but rodeo isn't either, right?
right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right now rodeo is just airport.
Yep.
Any more?
Which, by the way, is also not on here.
Yeah.
What
Any
was
more
that?
ambassador conversation?
I think we're done.
Okay, can we move on to Rocky Fork project status?
We are waiting for a response back from DNRC on the floodplain permit. If we get that by this Friday, then we will run an ad in the paper on Monday that'll start on Thursday, and Friday the 29th it can come down, and you can just add that 1 week to that. I have a little spreadsheet that's like, if we hear back from it by this date, this is the day we have a party. So, and it's basically 21 day lag time from when they give it to us. We have awarded the
Wait,
bid.
what does
we
that
just have-
mean?
We have awarded the bid. They have to have a floodplain permit. They have submitted their floodplain permit to DNRC,
Yep,
who has not yet responded. They told us it would be less than 2 weeks, but what they tell us and what we see are different. As soon as they say, yep, we're good with it, we run a 14-day notice in the paper, and then the notice to proceed is on day 15.
And the
so what's
permit-
21-day
the
lag
permit-
time?
The difference between, I'm just looking at like, if they give it to us, if they get word to us by Friday, August 8th, it's coming down August 29th, which is a Friday,
Why is the notice needed?
because it's a flood permit and that's process and rules.
It's a rule.
It's bureaucracy at
We
its
had
finest.
to do the same thing on the FEMA project.
But it might be gone by the end of
So is
August.
that the permit
Yeah.
that, got
Yeah, that's the one that
Doubt it.
you signed as the city applicant that I approve as soon as the NRC says we
Think
can.
about what you want.
But also
Not
be
what you
sensitive
don't-
who
Right.
they're celebrating
Think about-
with, because it was somebody's house.
Well, he unfortunately is not with us anymore,
Well,
but,
that
yeah.
specific person, but
Yeah.
they're still
They-
family
and,
members.
well, trust me, the family will be there celebrating too, so.
Maybe.
So what's the deal with the Eagles Nest?
So the Eagles Nest, they have filled out all the information needed for an application, and as funding sources become available, the city submits an application. There may be a window open that's like in October, and then we'll find out whether they bite or not. So it's basically what we're trying to
They is
acquire.
the owner?
The federal government. No, the
Oh.
owner's on board.
Oh, okay.
So what we're doing, trying to do is the federal government will pay 75% of the pre-appraisal acquisition cost. The owner has agreed that he will take that. We will try to find, the conversation has been, we will, same as with the Bastions, we will try to find the funding sources that are available, including we will look for the state for the remaining 25%, but there will be no dollars coming from the city for acquisition. There was no way to have a conversation where you said one victim got local tax dollars and another did not. So, as federal funding sources are available, we will apply for them. One of them that we'd applied for was the BRIC funding, which went away. But there's a couple of other funding sources that are available, and I think the next window we'll find out about is like in October.
Who's doing the application?
WWC is handling that for us, but it's basically the city applying.
Who's WWC?
They're our planning firm,
Oh,
and also our floodplain managers, so they're kind of in all of those loops.
So I was looking on the EPA website, that indicates there's tanks there, underground,
At,
Milties.
Tank.
no, there's not at Milpies. That's outdated. There was at one point in time, there was gas stations there.
Yeah, the tanks aren't still in the ground there?
No, and they did that with, they already ruled that out with the phase 1, phase 2, so we've already got that all taken care of.
So they're not,
They're not there, and the people who need to know have the paperwork that says it.
as Eric had brought it up, he's like, every 2 years I get a locate from the DEQ, because they would come in and do soil tests associated with tanks.
DEQ is the one who told us they're not there anymore and it's cleared.
They're still
Do
on.
you have that in writing?
We do.
Good.
That's the,
Yeah.
this is the project that just keeps on giving. This thing gets touched, if not daily, absolutely weekly. So that's why I have countdown days, because this is the one where it turns it into real days. It's not like, here's the next step, here's the next step. This is, the next step will be August 28th.
Yay. Are we gonna have a big
The funding
explosion?
for the contract, that comes from CES or something,
That's FEMA
FEMA.
for the tear down. Yeah, we have that money in place. That was the last hurdle we had to get to.
What happens if, in the end, it's more than 89,000, are they prepared to cover that?
They still cover it.
Right.
It was strange that bids were so different.
It really wasn't, because that morning there were no bids, and when we called out and said what's happened, we got one bid that I think was real, and I think the other, how much do you think it is? Double that and throw it in, and in case we get it, we know we're covered. There was also an assertion, which I didn't really buy into because of the timing, that all of the companies who did that were chasing the federal projects back east with the floods and stuff, because that's better money and more real out there, but I think it was just, I think we got one legit bid, and somebody just said, what do you think it is? Double it, and if we win, we'll know we're covered.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Hey.
Item 8, plant
Here-
forwards, update the 2015.
Chair, hey, Rod, Rod?
Yes.
I just make, again, one brief comment regarding what Dave just covered. I just want to thank Dave. I just want to thank Dave for his bulldog in this thing and stick to itness on it, because this has been a pretty complicated issue, and he has been on top of it and working hard on it all this time. And it's finally getting somewhere, and somewhere down the line, we're going to take a real liability in this city, and we're going to make it into a really nice asset. And that might be several years down the road, but right now we have, we have a public nuisance and a public safety issue and an unsightly issue that someday is going to be resolved. And I'm grateful to Dave and the city council for working so hard on this.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And WWC is monitoring that for us weekly too. That's a big part of it. They've been very great at helping us through this.
Good.
Item 8, plan forward to update 2015 Comprehensive Parks Master Plan. Who wants to jump in on that one?
Is that you, Roger?
Well, yeah, I guess I'll jump in. I think it's obvious if we're being aware of what we have seen in the last 2 years of wants, needs, and desires that have been brought to the city via our committee, our board. And if you've taken time to look at the existing comprehensive Parks and Recreation Plan, is that there's a need to update it. It's 10 years, it's going on 11 years old. Master plans are living documents. They've got to change with the times and as the needs and desires of the community dictates. And I personally think that we need to update that plan. But however, this is going to be a question, I guess, for Dave and, probably Mike. Comprehensive master plans take a lot of work and they involve money too. And so the question is going to be, it's going to be some of a funding and manpower issue. And is this a possibility in this coming fiscal year to undertake this project, or do we have to wait longer?
I'll look into it to find out who does those when you do that and what funding sources are available.
Great West did the last one.
Great West did the last one, yeah. And I think they did a really fine job. And also too, we have to remember this takes a lot of meetings, and it takes a lot of public input to pull one of these things off. So we can't go lightly into the idea of thinking this is a worthwhile thing to do without, knowing fully.
You mean Sarah can't just redline it?
What's that?
Can we need to reach out to Great West? Do we have to start over?
I don't think it'd be Great West anymore from just their skill set and what they've got. It'd be WWC, and I can reach out and have a conversation.
I'd be interested to ask WWC to look at the 15 plan, and I think it's a fair question to say, give us a ballpark on what it costs to update this.
Yep, I can take that.
If it's like in that, I expect it'll be in the somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000 range.
I agree.
I doubt it.
I
hope so,
No,
but I think the last one was
I think.
100.
No.
It was ridiculous. It
I
went on
Oh my
forever.
gosh.
tell you, we spent 50 on one that Great West was doing for us, and it was still, actually, it was funded at 25. When we got to 50, we pulled in WWC, and $3,000 later, we were done.
Okay.
I think if we'll ask them.
Yeah.
I think they'll give you a range of low to high, and if it's in that 8 to 12, I would think that the option exists if the board and whatever, it could be a parks project.
Yeah.
And come out of
Yes.
that 85. If it's something that you wanted to pursue and we had a good price on it,
Do we have anybody that was involved with the 2015 one here? I'm assuming that was Parks Board, not zoning, that dealt with that.
I wasn't here.
Tom Coley might have been on the board back then.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It'll tell me in the
James
2015
Caniglia was
plan.
pretty, I mean, I was sitting over there.
Take a look at the plan, take a look at the plan. It's list everybody who's been involved, and I
Yeah,
believe
it
the Parks
would
Board
tell
was,
you as
the
involved.
Parks Board was integral in it.
Parks, it could be a parks project, and I think there's some room in that line item for that, I think it fit, you know, I mean, it's, again, it's.
If it's 10 or
it's your
under,
guys' input.
right.
but I would say it's a potential avenue.
Okay.
There
So
is a
Dave-
lot in there that
Dave, you'll check that out
needs
or
to be.
something?
Yep, I have that as an action item.
And I think the more knowledgeable we are about our parks, the better, because when they come and ask questions,
No, you
We're-
wanna be you want the quality of that document,
Is gonna-
like if we
right.
do a PER for stormwater, or water, or sewer, or whatever, since it's basically kinda like a PER.
yep,
The quality of that document is, how well we are engaged in the process and how well we get them the information they need. 'Cause that's the only way they get it, so you guys would have to be, the city,
yep.
Parks Board would have to be part of this, or we're gonna get basically a cut and paste from the old one.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd like to
Don't
see,
want
because
that.
ultimately that'll be one of the steps in the flow chart. Where does this fit into our plan? Or how does this
Yeah.
align with our plan?
And a Parks and Open Space Master Plan can also recommend some of the things that we've struggled with a little bit about processes too. So, but again, it's gonna take a lot of public input, and this board will have to kind of buckle it up.
Okay, future agenda items.
Well, I think, we're going to be looking at a draft, procedures and, flow chart for
The bylaws need to be on the next agenda.
user group. Yeah,
I think the Parks Comprehensive Plan could encompass the flow chart and everything, be the blueprint of how the planning board and how you approach the council. It could be the map for that whole process. And WWC probably would be the right people to help develop that process.
I agree.
so have them review this flow chart thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not saying don't, you guys sit down to your flow chart, but I think in the end, whatever, number 3
Yeah.
on the agenda, number 4 on the agenda, number 7, could all be encompassed into a comprehensive parks plan. And in doing that, you would also incorporate the expertise of WWC to help you through that.
Yeah.
Good suggestion.
Anything else online?
We don't want anything else online. We got enough.
Oh, my
God.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my
There. Don't turn
My
around.
eyes.
So of course I'm like, blush every time I start thinking about it.
Well, if
It's like,
there's
Mary Dell,
nothing else-
Mary Dell, don't turn around.
That's on the record.
Oh.
If there's nothing else,
All I can say is, thank God he was over here trying to,
Yes.
because it
Thanks,
was
everybody.
multiplying. We were gonna pretty soon
And it
have
was
like
getting
16
worse.
screens going.
Good job,
So if
Rod.
somebody reads our meeting, can
Thanks,
all,
Roger.
is all of that come up?
Thanks,
for
guys.
them?
Appreciate it.
What we
Thanks,
saw on the
Luke.
screen, so most of it was covered up, but we may have to see if I can do some.
I didn't know they did that.
You mean hacked into a meeting, or is that?
Yeah, right, we're gonna have a full house.
Somebody take me to
Yeah.
She's like,
So-
don't turn around.
Don't turn around.
So next month, it'll
Did
be
you adjourn?
standing room only, yes,